Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and it's my favorite time of the week, Evolve review time. Honestly, other than like NXT, just like normally having like just really crazy shows, Evolve is just I kind of look forward to it every week. It's just a lot of fun. It's kind of like seeing like this like upstart, even though it is WWE and it has big backing and big talent and stuff. It just kind of feels like they're building something different, and I'm like a part of something that's like completely just new to a certain extent because I mean obviously there's 28 episodes. I've watched all 28. I watched every single match, every single segment. So it's like I feel very, I guess, connected to it to a certain extent. Like if I had seen any indie promotion and like started it from scratch like this, I think I'd feel the same way. But it's just like kind of like having one but also having a big backing. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that I think, but yeah, let's just jump into it. We have Carly Bright versus Layla Diggs. Now, honestly, this match is one of those matches that I had like high hopes for being really good. I don't know what it is with Layla Diggs. Like she had that really good match where she had those like giant kicks and like she was really using like her leg strength and like striking ability that way, and it was really good. But ever since then she just seems to kind of like miss the mark. I don't know if it's like maybe she's dealing with like a slight injury or something. I can't really tell, but it feels like everything that she hits is like at half, strength, and it doesn't like look good. Like I don't think the match like necessarily was bad, but I think it did suffer from some of that. I think Carly Bright was, a little bit better in there, but I think both of them just really didn't have it. And it was like a little bit of a shorter match that like I felt like they should have been a little bit more motor running if they were only going to have that 5 minute time limit. But I think overall I'd put it into C. Decent way to start off the show, but definitely not. I kind of felt disappointed. I really was thinking this was going to be like a B or above, like really did. Then we kind of have a bit of a train wreck here. It's a two-part of like a promo, so I'll go with the first part. Kendall Gray comes in there and talks about wanting to go after Callie Armstrong, which just completely destroys Kylie Bright winning. Like, I don't know why they had her cut the promo there. I know like they had technically it was an ad break and they came back from that, but I felt like that should have just been a different part of the show or like backstage. I know it was to set up some other stuff, but like I just felt like why? Like, I don't mind like Kendall Gray versus Callie Armstrong. Sign me up. I really want to see that match, but I felt it was kind of dumb to have this. And like, I was like, okay, well, it's okay. It's not that bad. And then it just got worse by having Tate Wilder and, what's his face? God, Rich Holland come down, which is ends up being the second match. But it was like, why did they interrupt like that? Because it basically just that was done, and then they went straight into the match. So it felt like you kind of really didn't have anything. And obviously, Kendall Gray was talking about that she wants to take out Wendy Chu also. So it was kind of felt like a all over the place promo. So I'm gonna put this down in D. Next up, we did have the Tate Wilder and Ridge Holland match. It started off with like the brawl going into it. Well, I don't know what Ridge was wearing. I really don't. The match itself, again, I don't think anything special came from it. There wasn't really anything that's like I go and tell somebody to watch this match. It didn't really have much, especially with Tate Wilder because I'm not a really big fan of his gimmick. So like I really focused in on his wrestling because I'm trying to give him some type of benefit of the doubt, and I just haven't found it. He's probably like in the bottom of like one of characters I don't really connect to or really like. And Ridge Holland's also down there with just never really being like that on the main roster for me either. So this was just kind of wild. Honestly, the only time I've ever thought he was halfway decent is when he was helping Chase U because it felt like he was trying to do some type of redemption, and they gave him that such a small story arc just to ruin Chase U and like ruin all of those people in that faction to almost not wrestle anymore. And it's just wild that all that came from here, and now you got a guy on Evolve. So I put it in C. I still think it was an okay match. I just really didn't like it compared to everything else. They gave it a lot more time. I really wish they could have gave that time to the first match and it could have made it better. This was just kind of a waste. Also, if you're going to have Kendall Gray and Carly Bright in that first match, I don't know why they didn't make it a tag team match against Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs because they were kind of naturally tag teams and it would have got way more people on the card. So I thought that was also kind of a confusing part. Then we go to a backstage segment talking about Mathers and Aaron Roke. God, I knew I was going to mess up his last name. They're they've tag teamed together, which they actually weren't too bad, and they've been kind of highlighting, kind of making a tag division. This would be our fourth tag team between Jamar Hampton and It's Gall, seeming like they're coming together. Obviously, Adrenaline Drip, and then the two other guys that we got last time. Like they're starting to low key have a pretty good tag division and swipe right. So this is not a bad thing. I thought this promo wasn't too bad. I don't think it was anything special. They just kind of talked about working together and all that. I put it in B. It was not a bad thing, I would say. And then we had Jamar Hampton and Itzgall watching it and basically just kind of shitting on it. I don't know why they do that because it really didn't do good for either way. Because if you were already watching the promo and you didn't really like the Rourke and Mathers promo, then them like shitting on it didn't really help. And then if you liked it, then you just kind of feel like, well, that's awkward. Why are they shitting on this? I don't know. I didn't really like it. I really don't like It's Call. And I like Troy or Jamar Hampton. I forget his name change, but I don't mind him, and I really feel like this tag team could be okay, but we're kind of just getting them being critiquing people in the back and hitting the gym. I feel like they need to have a match, which I know they will next week, but I feel like there's got to be something here. I put this part in C. I just kind of feel like it cut away from the first part of the promo. And then speaking of that, we'll see that match next week. I think it will be a decent match, so I'll put it in B. I'm low-key excited for that match, but not like it's going to be, life changing or anything. Then before the main event, we had not Carly Bright. It was Kendall Gray getting taken out by Wendy Chu. Again, I'm kind of confused on what they're doing here because Kendall Gray would then kind of taken out of the title picture. So why even have her call out Callie Armstrong? Like it kind of felt pointless to do that. I know like Wendy Chu's supposed to be that big bad guy back there, but she just keeps taking L's to like big baby faces. That doesn't really help either way. So I kind of felt like this was a little weird. Like we've already kind of seen this storyline, and I just kind of felt it wasn't the greatest. So I'm gonna put it down and see. Then we get to the main event. It was Kiana Carver versus Jackson Drake versus Brooks and Jensen. Now, honestly, this absolutely cooked. This was the saving grace of the entire show. If you're going to think about this show, you're going to be thinking about this match. It started off kind of slow, I'll be honest, because like they kind of threw somebody out, let them sit out there and go for it too. They really didn't get the whole like triple threat thing, which is a little bit harder to match. And I know, they're still learning and stuff. I think Jackson Drake looked phenomenal out there. He did some really good stuff. He looked pretty strong most of the time. Like most of the time when he was out or like in the back, it was like he's getting taken out by two guys. And so he looked like $1,000,000. Kiana Carver still looked like a beast. I still to this day, I just hate that he exists in the WWE at the same time as Obafemi, because I really think he would be like an Obafemi where he just goes up there and destroys everything on NXT, because he's destroyed everything on Evolve, but he will never be called up to NXT until Obafemi's gone, because you really can't have two guys that do basically the same thing, especially with Obafemi being better on the mic and I think and definitely better in the ring, so, and a better moveset also. So I think he would really dwarf him unless I like put him as a tag team or something, but that would be the only case that I could see them doing that. So unfortunately Cardi Carver is kind of like stuck right now in that purgatory of not being able to move up anytime soon because of it. And Brooks Jensen, it's weird. Like I wanna like his like moves and stuff because like I thought they were pretty good. They feel like kind of like a technical masterclass, but then he does some really crazy stuff. I don't think I like his vibe necessarily with his character. Like his character's not really my tech cup of tea, and like the way that he especially does promos and stuff with like almost being like a southern or like more southern Stone Cold Steve Austin type cadence. I don't really know what he did with all that. And then with this match, it felt like it was a little bit of a letdown for his side of things, because he did good, but he is the veteran out of these three. I think he has the most experience. He's obviously been on the main roster, so you expect the most out of him. And I think like he definitely just kind of did his thing, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I put this in a solid A. I think everybody did a solid job. I'd probably give Kiana and Jensen probably marks of B, and I'd give Jackson Drake an A. I think overall the match was good. The story was told. The Vanity Project came down and saved him, or at least Bryce Donovan did. It made at least a little bit of a case being like, Jackson Drake did win clean, so like there could be rematches and stuff like that. So I think for story, it worked out pretty decent, and the title was defended. Now, hopefully, we don't get another long time between the titles. That's the only unfortunate thing sometimes. It's like the titles don't get defended as much. Kelly Armstrong's been pretty solid, but Jackson Drake quite hasn't had that same thing. And I think if they're gonna put Kelly Armstrong up on NXT every once in a while, Jackson Drake should be up there too. He's like one of the only few people that are not in that main event scene that hasn't gotten that like just minute up there, type of thing. I think he could have like a decent feud with somebody like Charlie Dempsey or something, like if they wanted to have a match or something like that, just so he could get a match up there. I think that would be a decent thing to do. But yeah, I think overall this show probably would be in a B minus, probably C plus. It was a little bit rough, definitely not the worst show that I've seen. So that's saying something. But we did have a pretty decent streak of good episodes. This one kind of was a little disappointed, but I've been pretty good with this on Evolve that I have not really just watched an episode and wanted to stop watching. Like, I'm excited for next week. I already know one of the matches. I'm already excited to see what the other matches are, and I just, excited for the show in general. So if you guys share that same thing, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment what you liked about it, who your favorite Evolve wrestler is. I really want to know who's everybody's favorite right now. Maybe favorite and least favorite, or maybe we'll ask least favorite next time. I don't know. But if you have a favorite Evolve wrestler, throw down in the comments. Until next time, bye guys.